welcome to the channel. We've got some dish soap here that I've just whisked up. Going to put it on some cold press watercolor paper, just smothering it on, getting it all over the page. And then I've got some gold metallic paint. So these are the Kuretake paints, and I'm going to get lashings of that paint onto the bubbles and just literally pouring it out the pan, adding some more water, pouring it back out onto the pan, and then using the brush to smother it around. Very easy to do and very satisfying. So once you've done all of that, you're going to need to let that dry. And then I've grabbed an old painting that I've done. I did this a few weeks back and I just thought, well, what could I use? I really like the pattern on it. And I thought, these look like little houses. So I decided to cut them up into my little house shapes. And then I'm going to have a look at doing some roofs for these, but just getting those down, trimming all the white bits off. Very easy to do. You can do this with any of your old paintings. Doesn't have to be grid art. Any paintings that you see and you think, oh, I quite like that, what can I do? You can cut these up for houses. Lots of marks on these little paintings, so I really were drawn to these. So cutting now the roofs, getting those, having a look, does that fit? Yeah, I think it does. And just making some different roofs. So we've got some pointy ones, and then we've got ones with two sides and a flat on the top there. And the paint has now all dried, and I'm outlining the border. You can see there's been a little bit of seepage there. Sometimes get that with the bubbles, I don't know why, but I thought, well, I'll do a border. Now I did do a fish one very similar to this with the bubbles and had a bit of disaster with the paint seeping through, and again I did a border and that worked out really well. So I just thought to myself, why not try it on this? So just adding some gold pen here. I think that might be a Staedtler gold pen. And then I've got these jelly roll pens in Moonlight, and I'm just outlining those shapes. I just want to make it a little bit more bolder, and these are colours that are very similar to what are on the original painting. So just outlining all of those little shapes just to make this lovely little border. And then using a green at the top there. So I've got blue at the bottom, a pinky colour for the middle, and this lovely green for the top bit. So I've laid out all my little houses, roughly got a plan where they're going to go, and I've got my Mod Podge, and I'm just smothering it onto the back of these little paintings and sticking them down. Just try to be careful getting them down onto the page, and it's going to be a layering process. So we're going to have this one here, and then I'm bringing it down, and we've got another one there. So as though there's a couple of streets in this little town, and I'm just going it across and just changing the shapes. You see, ones are going up, others are going to the side. So trying to be a little bit random because I want it to look, you know, just like a town, and just adding them in there. So now I'm going to be doing my last little street, so just getting those down, and they're slightly on top of each other. You'll see the roofs will go on top of the street behind, and that is how I wanted it to look. And we are going to make this look a little bit more bolder with some pens, and I'll show you that in a bit. So just sticking them all down randomly, putting them down. I had planned it out roughly where I was going to put these houses and lay them out at the top, but you know, sometimes things don't work out as you planned, so they're just going down as I'm picking them up, just sticking them down and hoping for the best. And I think it does turn out okay in the end. Let me know in the comments what you think. Does it turn out okay? Is it something you're going to do? So I am going to let that dry and pulling away all the layers, and you can see there. And I thought, well, it needs a little bit more, so I've grabbed my gold Staedtler pen and I'm just outlining those houses because I want them to look bold. I want to be able to see that they're all individual houses. It looks a bit like a blur when they haven't got this gold around them. So adding that in, and I think that looks really, really Christmassy. It's got that lovely snow kind of effect with the gold paint, the watercolour paint and all the bubbles. And then I'm adding this other gold to the painting. So these are going to be the windows, so just literally drawing them in. And different shaped windows, different doors. Some have got doors, some haven't. Maybe they've just got back doors, who knows. And then just continuing on. So then I decided to grab my white Posca pen. It's 3M white Posca pen, and I'm outlining the windows and also some of the buildings, and that makes them pop even more there. So you can actually add your window shapes in there and a little doorknob there, and just being random, just adding whatever you think, whatever pops into your mind, just get that down on the page and it'll work out fine. Continuing with these last few windows, so I do let the gold Staedtler pen dry before I add the white, because you will find that it sort of leaves a bit of a smear, so you have to leave it for a few minutes. So that's all it takes, a few minutes, it'll dry, and then you can add your white Posca pen. So then once I've done all that with the Posca pen and added all my lovely little windows in there, then I've grabbed a black fine liner and I'm just outlining that white. That just makes the windows really pop off the page, and outlining the outsides of them. And it just differentiates, because you've got heavily patterned paper, you really want to make your windows look as though they're a focus, and adding this little bit of black there just gives it that little bit more of a feeling that you can actually see those windows, you know, the shadow inside of those windows as you look in. They actually look as though they've got lights on, I think, you know, with a gold pen. Looks as though they've all got their lights on. It's a bit of a wintry day, and it's been snowing outside. You can see it's a bit blustery, and everybody's got their little lights on, and hopefully their little log fires, and are having a lovely time. So just continuing with that, filling in all of these. And if you want to join the membership, there are details on the button. I think it might be below. I keep saying it's above, but I think it might be below if you're looking on your laptop. And you can look at the details there. If you like this, maybe like, subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a comment. Is this something you'll do? Do you like the border? Is this something you'll do with the bubbles? Have you got a painting that you think you might use to do this? Let me know. Would love to hear from you. Okay, well, thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.